Yo, what is up, guys? It's the Nightwing at Way of Life Esports coming at you guys with another League of Legends video here today. This is going to be the LEC 2021 Spring Split Week 2 Thoughts and Opinions. And it was a interesting week. G2 is no longer undefeated. Schalke, no fear, stops G2 from having their 18-0 run yet again. Rogue is undefeated, and Team Vitality, well, they suck. They actually just aren't good at the game. But as we had last week, what's up, T-Root? How you doing, man?
Doing well, doing well. Happy to talk about EU again, the
hmm
one league where everybody beats everybody, but then G2 beats everybody else.
And then Fnatic doesn't beat anybody. Imagine if they had that meme.
Uh,
Imagine if they had that meme. G2 wins everything, but Fnatic don't beat anybody. Remember that's what Forgiven tweeted. It was like just like last year, or he was like, "Yeah,
oh
oh, Schalke don't beat anyone. They just beat themselves. Fuck. Oh my god.
God, I don't know who has the worst Twitter game right now, Forgiven or Perks.
Oh my lord." So, what you been? Have you been watching the LCS games too? You saw the lock-in finals and semis.
I watched all of 100T versus C9. Didn't watch any of TL versus EG, and then kind of tuned in and out of the lock-in finals.
hmm So for
But
the LEC 2021 Spring Split Week 2, you had Astralis versus Excel. Great quality game right there. This is just what I watch EU for. I want to watch Excel face off against Astralis. Now, for Astralis so far, I think that like the roster is not good. Like they were really losing to Excel in this game. They were, and then they started bringing it back. Like, dude, how do I judge Astralis? Help me like this team.
I mean,
If you buy me a jersey,
honestly,
if you buy me an Astralis jersey, I'll be their fan.
I had to take a second look at Astralis overall because a lot of I recognized a couple of the names in White Knight and Promiscu, and then I noticed Jessica and Zanzara. I thought Zanzara was a rookie, but no, this guy has had like championships in the Russian league.
hmm
So literally, Astralis is five vets. I almost would have wanted them to see a one vet, four rookie situation. So literally, this is like bottom of the bear. This is like the CLG of EU. It's just like low tier veteran talent that's like, okay, we can pick up wins against new guys because everybody else is going for rookie rosters.
hmm
But when this team can't perform, I feel like that's just an error in management.
No, I honestly think Zanzar is not a bad jungler. I also think that Excel still have a really solid bot lane. Patrick and Torre are still really good players. In my own personal opinion, I
Oh
think
yeah.
they're a really good bot lane. Their new players in Cries and Checolad. I think their new mid laner was just solid mid laner. Like I was being really harsh on Excel last year because like they generally just fail consistently. But I do think they're not a
hmm
bad roster. Is this the year where Excel finally make playoffs? I mean, maybe. Is this the
I
hey,
mean, maybe
hey.
like fifth or sixth. I don't see them like going like top four, but I mean, if they can make playoffs, that'd be good.
hmm
I kind of wish that Young Buck was given better players, I guess, because I think he's a really fantastic
hmm
coach and team manager. It's just because of
hmm
the quality of rosters he's worked with before. Um, so I hope to see that this team will grow a little bit. Again, I do think with Excel, like coming in 2 and 3 with the schedule they've had is actually pretty good. So I'm interested to see how Excel does.
Their game
But
against fucking Astralis, you saw Xandra just give up and run his Udyr as fast as he can away from their base. Oh, oh.
yeah, well, it's there.
He was like,
There were
get me off this
a lot
roster."
of weird calls this game.
All right,
What wasn't didn't that
what?
happen in NA too, where like someone saw their base was in shambles, so they just ran the other way, like out of their own base, but then they got chased down.
Oh God,
I feel like I saw that happen before, but I can't remember what game. No,
that's what happens with
I actually think it was
that That happened with
a Fnatic
TSM.
game
That happened with
actually.
TSM at Worlds 2020. They saw their chances of getting out of groups flayed away, so they just started sprint running to the airport.
mm,
Oh gosh.
yikes.
But overall, what did you think about SK Gaming?
Okay, SK I actually really like. Like usually SK has some pretty bad rosters like last year. But this is one that I think is really interesting. I don't know if you watched the game against Schalke that they ended up losing, but Blue, their mid laner, is a Chad. I mean, literally, he 1v5 dove in to the enemy team to Azir ult them into his team, died, and then their jungler playing Dr. Mundo got a quadra kill. Like, SK is actually talented. I want to see them pick up more wins, though.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about Misfits this week? I think Misfits struggled this week, actually. They didn't really play as
Misfits
clean.
got humbled after a pretty good week one where they went 2-1. They went 0-2 this week. Hear It and Razor did not look as good as they did week one. I think they definitely struggled. And it's not like the teams that they played against were okay. They did lose to Rogue, which slightly understandable, but we'll get to them.
Yeah.
And then they lost to SK, which to me is just goes to show that SK has talent with as hyped up as Misfits was after week one. To see a team like SK come in, prove they're just as good, if not better in some regards, just goes to show how close this middle of the table is going to be for EU for that like fifth, sixth spot. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some tiebreakers by the end of the year.
It was good to see Treats not running it down on Leonelai like he was. That was insane. That man was sprint running
No, that
some
was
losses.
that was Labrov. That was Labrov this week who ran it down on Leona. I think he went like 0-10 on Leona versus Fnatic.
Dude, like why does EU have some of these players that play Leona just start straight sprinting it to the fucking loss? Last week it was Treats. Geez. This week it was fucking Labrov. I'm like, all right, who's next? Who's next to play Leona? Just straight up run it down. Hillsing ran it down. Oh yeah. My god. Everyone plays Leona in this league and just runs it, man. But I'm glad. SK Gaming had a bounce back week. I do think Blue was a solid player from what I've seen so far. I want to see how Jezu improves. Treats, he played better this week, and that's good. And the issue with Misfits, I think, is that they've really never had a good playstyle. And I think they need a playstyle when it comes to players like Kabi and Vander. You would think with players like them, they would have a playstyle right now. But, well, you have Razork, and Razork has this thing where, I think most people watching are going to know who Ning is. Feast or Famine jungler. It's kind of who Razork is, essentially. If Razork's not popping off, he's useless. He's just not good,
I do think between last year and this year, there definitely was some kind of a little bit of rebuilding for Misfits as far as finding a style, because if you look at back in 2017, 2018, their style was play bot lane and feed Han Sama. So after they lost him to Rogue last year, they kind of had to rebuild and kind of try to figure out, okay, what is our carry situation going to look like now? I think they're starting to lean a little bit more towards like playing solo lanes between Hear It and VTO. But I think that last year they didn't know what their identity is. And so this year when they bring in an entirely new squad other than Kabe and Razork with a good leader like Vander, I feel like they could find a style. I just don't think it'll end up being a bot lane focused team.
What did you think about Vitality this week? They played really bad. It was...
Yeah, again... That's a hard team to
judge,
to weigh in this week, especially this week when they got just out macroed by Fnatic and then had a kind of a close game to Rogue, but I mean Rogue still came out ahead, so it's kind of hard to decide like what was the losing factor there. If it was just like team diff, or if it was just like, okay, here's like a bad call that kind of effed them over in the end.
Do you think that Rogue is the best team in the LEC? Like right now,
it's hard to say no, based off of record wise, because they are the only undefeated team. They have sole possession of first. I do think that G2 is still pretty comparable, because I don't put a lot of stock in G2's like loss to Schalke this week when it was literally Broken Blade just ran a clinic over
Wonder.
over Wonder. I mean, I don't know if you saw that the LEC Twitter posted this really funny image of the 4 horsemen of G2, and it's like 4 different times in G2's history where they've been caught out on a flank and just got like quadrad, and this time it was Broken Blade who just like he literally fought Wonder and Yankos 1v2, came out ahead, and then was able to basically carry his team.
I'm actually
Um,
glad Broken Blade's performing well. Like, I don't think he was a bad top laner in
mhm.
the LCS, and I'm glad he gets to play with much
No.
more better caliber competition. Like, he was never a bad top laner, though, so I'm glad he,
Mm-mm.
now has to face better competition, and he played well this week on Aatrox, right? Yeah, he played Aatrox, I think both games, right? If I'm not
Yep.
mistaken.
Yes. Definitely in the G2 game. I don't remember what he played in the SK game, but Aatrox sounds right.
Let's see. So, what other teams? So, we gotta talk about the team, not G2, everybody. Well, yes, we'll talk about them. It's time to talk about Fnatic. Oh, all right, T-Root, tell me why Fnatic are the best team on this planet and why they're gonna win the 2021 World Championship. Because I saw that Mad Lions
Okay.
game. Now, what's going on there, buddy?
Okay. So for this one, you actually need to listen to Fnatic's voice comms on their YouTube channel. Not to
Okay.
chill out or anything, but totally shilling out. They were winning that game until they took a bad fight in blue side jungle near Mad Lion's red buff or blue buff, where they just kind of got like it was a sticky fight and they ended up losing, unfortunately. But then at the Baron fight that ended up losing them the game, you have Whippo making the call, being like, "Don't engage, don't engage. I'm gonna ult in," and then Selfmade either kind of half engages, kind of half
Mhm.
gets caught out in order to steal the Baron, insta dies, and then you see Whippo flying in as Pantheon, and then they just lose a 4v5. I think the big thing that Fnatic is struggling with now is that they don't know who the shot caller is.
Mhm.
That was Reckless. Reckless was kind of the team leader, the guy finding the plays. I think Whippo is trying to assert himself as kind of that like
I thought it
guiding
was self-made,
voice,
honestly. From watching their games, it
but
looked like it was self-made. Or maybe I was
and
wrong.
that's it's that might be because of Selfmade's kind of diving mentality, because he'll play a lot of those
Mhm.
engaged champions like Hecarim, like Gragas, like Evelyn in some cases, if he thinks it's going to be an assassination meta, which, I mean, he took some really good fights. I think he solo killed Elyoya or Humanoid at one point just because he got caught out, and Evelyn is a dangerous champion when they get ahead. But at that last fight, I think he tried to go two ham, and it ended up costing them the game. If he had listened to Bwipo and let Bwipo engage, I think it might have been more 50-50. But I do think that that decision at the end cost him the game. So I'm curious to see how
Mhm.
that will grow moving forward, if Bwipo will be able to kind of give himself more of a voice, or if Selfmade will kind of just be on his own and try to 1v9.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe that'll work out if the meta is right. I'd be interested to see how he does on a champion like Udyr, which is seeing a massive resurgence for
Has he
whatever
played an
reason, and I think
Udyr
is
game
actually
yet?
getting buffed.
Has Selfmade played an
Um,
Udyr game yet? I haven't seen it.
I do not think he has played an Udyr. Let me see what champions he has played. I can pull that up really quick.
He's played. I know he's played Olaf,
Um,
Evelyn. So far, I know he's played
he's
those.
played Olaf, Hecarim, Evelyn, and Graves.
Okay, so he hasn't played
He
Nidalee,
has not played
Udyr.
Udyr
Yeah.
or Nidalee.
Okay.
Or what are some of the other big junglers? Like, he hasn't played a Pantheon game because Pantheon's mostly been going top lane. Um, I mean, his Olaf looks really, really good. Like, something about Polish junglers and Olaf, man, because him, Inspired, and Yankos all have really sick Olaf games, and I don't get it.
But for when they faced Vitality, it looked like they were just gonna perfect game them. Like that was a game that
Mm-hmm.
people wanted them to play in week one. And then when I look at the Mad Lions game, when I was watching it, I was like, Mad Lions probably shouldn't have even been in that position because they weren't really losing per se. And then you had the bot lane fight where Niski got 2 kills in the umbrella. I was like, whoa, this is the Niski people
Yeah.
wanted to see. And I think Niski had a pretty good week, honestly. And I think when people were
No,
like, oh my
yeah.
god, Nemesis, oh, like, just shut up.
Mhm.
Niski played really
No,
well.
I agree, but, at the same time, it's not like Mad Lions and Vitality are two very different teams as far as,
Yeah.
strength of team.
Mhm.
So when you have a really good team like Misfits, or not Misfits, Mad Lions, who 4 of their 5 players were at Worlds last year, like, they
Mhm.
know how to close a game if they get an opening. So the fact that they won 2 big fights, like either 5-1 or 5-0 versus Fnatic, they were like, all right, we have an advantage. Let's close it out.
What do you
I
think
do
about
think Mad Lions had a better objective control this
mhm.
game than Fnatic, strangely enough. So I'm interested to. I think that they're still a top four team.
What
I think
happened
the
with
top
that
four
team
teams.
fight? There was that team fight they had around what was it? The team fight where they got Ace Fnatic. Like I look like they had
Mhm.
it. The team fight in around 28 minutes in. They have a
Yeah,
team
that's
fight.
that was the fight down at the blue buff
Yeah,
I was talking
it
about.
really looked like they had
Um,
it, and then I don't know what happened. Like,
I, I don't know. I don't think they got Carzy. I think Carzy was just allowed to free hit from the back line, and it just was a really choked team fight. So I'd have to rewatch that and kind of like look over
mhm.
the minutia of okay, where did it start to fall? Because it looked pretty even, and then yeah, it just kind of like ended in Mad Lion's favor just somehow. And then, like I said, if you look at the Baron fight, it's pretty obvious how bad that was when you see Selfmade die.
Even when like Mad Lions won, I wasn't like, man, did Fnatic lose this game or did Mad Lions steal my time? It, that's what I
Hmm.
was because like Arma and Aloye, so far they haven't been making a case as to be an upgraded topside duo over Shadow and Arome. So far they haven't made that case to me. Like Arma has been,
I,
like
hmm
it's like has like Arma in lane looks better than Arome, but has he really been that much of an improvement over him so
I would
far?
say yes. I agree the point that you're making as far as top jungle duos. They're
Hmm.
probably not, top four, top five. But that's because again, I don't know how long they've had to practice together or
Hmm.
like what the travel restrictions are in Europe because of COVID. Especially when you have someone like Armit coming in from Turkey. I think that it's the bottom three, the three that were held over last year, are working well with Eloy,
Yeah,
and they're just kind of like letting Armit. They're kind of giving Armit the Dyrus treatment, but in a slightly more supportive way, where it's like
Humanoid
they
is
don't
good.
expect.
I think
Yeah,
Humanoid looks really
they
good.
don't expect him to lose lane.
Hmm.
They just hope that he'll be better in team fights.
Hmm.
He hasn't been put on a supportive top lane yet, which I think is more in line with the strategy that Mad Lions are trying to do as far as they want Armit to either be a tank or be a carry. They don't want to put him on a Lulu. They don't want to put him on an Ivern and just
Hmm.
be like, all right, now you're going to play backup. They want him to kind of be that frontliner that he showed he could be at Worlds, and then everybody is kind of building around him and hoping that they don't lose lane.
He played really well on the Wukong and team fights. He got like what two triple
Mm-hmm.
kills back to back. So looking at
Yeah,
Mad Lions, I think they're still they're a serviceable team. I think they just need more time to obviously rack up for Fnatic. So what do you think about upset so far after these 2 weeks?
I mean, Upset I think is being consistent to who he was last year as far as being a kind of clutch player when you need him to. It's just that he is on a better team now, and
Hmm.
he feels more. I don't want to say he feels more engaged to carry, but he feels less of that strain where it's like, if I lose, my team loses. It's if I get behind, it's no big deal. People like Niski, people like Selfmade can kind of pick up the pieces a little bit.
Hmm.
I just have to scale. I don't think he's working very well with Hillisang yet. I think that'll still take some time, but that's just Hillisang. He is an I think he overly engages for one reason or another, and I don't think Upset has the killer instinct that Hillisang has. So there's a little bit of a disconnect, but not enough where I think that Upset is a bad player. I think he's just not as aggressive as he was last year.
So the other team to talk about, pretty much the last one to hit on, is G2. So G2 actually lost this week. They lost to Schalke and they beat Astralis. The Astralis win,
Mhm.
pretty much a given. They faced an MSI champion in the bot lane, I promise you.
Mm.
Oh my god. And then they actually did pretty well against Astralis West, to be expected. So far,
Mhm.
Reckless has fit in pretty well into the G2 lineup. A lot of people thought that he would obviously take some time to gel with Mickey X. No, he looks pretty solid overall. He looks great, honestly.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with that. I want. It's kind of weird. I wanted Reckless to kind of
Fall
fall
apart.
apart the first couple
Come
weeks,
on, your demise.
but but that's only because it's G2, and I just like. Bad. G2 bad.
G2
But
bad guy.
I'm happy that he is in a spot where he feels more successful as a person. Um, and so I hope he kind of can carry that forward and see where they kind of end up towards the end of the split. I was a little confused by some of his positioning in the Schalke game.
Yeah,
Um,
I
but
agree.
I think that was just because like that's a hard game to look at and be like, oh, it was
They made
this
a lot
person's
of
fault,
mistakes.
or
Yeah.
it's not.
Oof.
You can't even say like draft diff. It was just a close. It was just a good game.
Yeah, because like when you're looking at like the Schalke game, they had better team fights. They definitely had better objective control. Abadage, he's been a pretty solid player overall too. Like overall for the Schalke lineup, I don't think any of them are truly bad players. I think Limit played well on the rail pick
Hmm.
when he got that, and that's pretty much it overall. And now let
Did
me
you want to
actually.
talk about? Did you want to talk about Rogue at all, or just
Oh
like
yeah, my
Rogue
god.
is
Oh my
number
god.
one?
I mean, have they really been challenged yet though? It's hard to say. Are they the definitive best team in the league though?
Yeah. Again, I think that they kind of got limit tested versus Vitality.
Let's see.
And that's really the
They
only.
played
And then they
Misfits or
kind of had a
Vitality.
close-ish game versus Fnatic.
They played what?
Um,
Misfits, right? They played Misfits and Vitality this week actually.
yeah.
Oof. So they
Um,
played Misfits and let's see. Let me go bring up the game.
yeah. They played
Hmm.
Misfits. They played Vitality, and then in week one they played SK, XL, and then
I'll say
Fnatic.
I'll say this. Like this happens with any competitive sport or not just esports. Like a team like them will start out really well and then later on
Hmm.
start to do poorly. But
Yeah.
are they doing poorly because everyone else is bad in the league right now? I don't want to say that because like they are playing well in the game though. But it's like, do
Hmm.
you think that this will consistently keep happening time and time again, like every single week? Probably not. They're most likely not going to say undefeated. Imagine if Rogue went undefeated. Holy moly! 9 weeks from now we're doing this. Rogue is undefeated. What? Oh my god.
Well, and I was thinking about this earlier, before we
Mhm.
before we started recording, kind of like what are my thoughts on Rogue?
Mhm.
And I have two main thoughts. One, you could look at Rogue, and you could make the argument that this is just like Hansama and Misfits, where Misfits would always do really well early on in the season, back when it was like when you had people like Sen Cooks, like Max
I
Lore,
haven't
like
heard Sen Cooks in
Fari.
damn. I haven't heard the name Sen
Um,
Cooks in ages.
yeah,
That guy was a check
Misfits was
stealer.
always, well, hell, even when they had Power of Evil and Ignar,
Yeah.
like they were really good early regular season teams, would kind of slip off in the second half of the season, and then would kind of tumble in playoffs. I don't think that Misfits ever got higher than third in a playoffs, and although one year it was good enough to get them to Worlds,
What
where they made top
one
eight.
split they made second
Um,
because they got 3-0 by G2 in a final. They've made like
mhm.
and after that, what, one top three or one top four. After that, it's been pretty much not making playoffs, some splits, or making playoffs and losing in the first round.
Yeah, because they, again, like I said earlier, they lost Hansama. They kind of lost
Yeah,
their identity. But the other interesting thing you could say about Rogue is that other than Inspired or Larson, they have Otawamne, Hansama, and Vander?
Trimby.
No. Trimby. Oh, never mind. Uh, then this only applies to Hansama and Otawamne. Those two are arguably the best players in their position to never win a title.
True. Yeah, I agree.
So if they can actually pull something together, I think it would be literally the highlight of both Otawamne and Han Sama's
Yeah,
careers.
because
So while I'd like to see them like
mhm.
be successful, I feel like we're gonna see them peter off in about week 5 or 6.
Yeah, because I was looking at the game, even I'm just watching it again because I remember I watched this when it first came out. They did struggle against Misfits, and like they were losing team fights
Hmm.
consistently. VTO getting caught out on Syndra, and obviously you have Razdor getting caught out. Like they made a lot of quote unquote rookie team mistakes, and that's what
Yeah.
cost them the game. I think that not Misfits, Rogue having the more veteran presentsship in the top lane really got them to the victory in this game because you factor in they were like what 4,000 gold ahead at a certain moment. They were playing really well. They
Hmm.
had caught them out in the their red side and they also caught them out at the point of doing dragons too. Like Misfits are playing well. I just don't know what happened. Like was there a miscommunication about when to go in, about when to obviously have this person going? Because remember when Hear It make the Malphite play and then no one followed up on it at all? He was way over. Everyone's way over the wall. I'm like, what are you doing? Imagine if he had
Yeah.
hit that Malphite ult and everyone's there to capitalize on it.
And then everybody engaged, then
They
Misfits
do
might have
Baron.
closed that
Yeah, then
out.
Misfits do Baron. Now we're looking at a completely different game. That's what I was trying to say. Like,
Nah.
I've seen like this happen before in every league: LCS, LPL, LEC.
Oh, I was gonna say, you watch that moment happen, you see him knock up 4 members, no follow in, and your first thought is, feels Spica, man.
5-man Malphite sleep for their loss.
Oof.
Oh my god.
Mm.
But overall, I think we had a pretty good video so far. Anything else you wanted to say,
Yeah.
man? Oh my god,
Dude.
why don't we do this? We predict the next week's games. Oh god, I'm a moron.
I was gonna say, like, are there any? I'm looking at the schedule. Are there any matches? I see 2 matches next week that are really
Fnatic
interesting.
versus G2. Woo, El Clasico.
Fnatic versus
You're
G2,
getting
and then
stomped.
Schalke versus Rogue.
Schalke versus Rogue? Yeah, G2 versus Fnatic, let's be honest here. You're getting destroyed.
I mean, we'll see how that goes. I'm also interested to see Schalke versus Misfits, and then Mad Lions versus SK Gaming. I think those 4 are kind of like my matches of the week per se.
I really
because
want
I think that'll
Fnatic to
really
win. Like, overall, I enjoy
Mhm.
when G2 win, but Fnatic haven't beaten G2 in so long, man. Like, just okay, I'll take away a few best of 1 wins and I'll let you have them. Like, it'll be such a big confidence booster for Fnatic, this
Yeah,
roster,
seriously.
to beat G2. Imagine if they beat G2 and they go like undefeated until they face G2 again in like week 7. I think this win would really make them and show them that they can actually potentially do well this split. Now, this happened last year
Mhm.
too with last LCS LEC 2020 summer split. Yeah, we had Rogue and Mad Lions at the top, and then later on, they kind of fallen apart. Like, I'm still standing by my stance. I still think Fnatic will be the second best team in the league. I still think G2 will be the best.
Yeah.
I still think Rogue will be a top 3 team. Look, EU has right now 3. I think if Fnatic come online, they'll have really 3 solid teams, and depending on who else comes up, the league looks pretty solid so far. There's been a lot of random misplays so far. Because, like, when I'm looking at some of the Vitality games, too, it's like, why did Skeens, like, do something and then his bot lane is completely trying something else? It's like, but that's also the issue of the season first starting. And remember, even though these games are online, quote unquote, these are like the games that matter. So I guess teams are taking less risk in the games that matter. You can tell in scrims, these are probably having like their 30 kill games in like 20 minutes. You can tell a team like no one can convince me that Selfmade is playing scared in scrims. No way, not even close.
Well, and like I said at the beginning of the video, EU is one of those leagues where, with some exceptions, it's really hard to just like outright say, oh, this team is favored or this team is like a guaranteed win. EU is a very volatile, very exciting region to watch, where even if you look at some of the bad games like an Astralis v SK or an Astralis v Vitality, there are some pretty hype moments, some pretty exciting, explosive team fights, and it's really hard to see who's going to come out on top unless your name is G2, where it's like, okay, postseason power buff.
So what do you think about the casting so far? Because I know Vedi has said his casting needed improvement. I thought he did just fine, honestly. I'm not in their position, so it's really hard to be like, people say, oh, this game's casters were bad, or this game. It's like, we're not in their position,
so are you just citing like specifically the in-game casting, or kind of like what we talked about in our preseason video where it's like the EU production as a whole?
Yeah, like he talked about his casting on Vedi's Twitter. He talked about it where he didn't feel like his casting was good in week 1 and it improved in week 2. For me personally, when it comes to casters in general, I'm not in their position to really like be like, oh, this guy's casting is bad, because I'm not in their position. Like, I don't know what it's like to be a professional caster for a professional game, because people go, well, this person's takes were bad, I couldn't listen to this caster. I mean, I always tell people the same thing. You could go to Playa Riot and you be a caster, and we'll see your shitty, terrible, like fucking Iron 5 opinions. and then like the choose differently when we're looking at it from a viewer perspective versus someone who's actually there. That's just how I would see it.
I think I think in this specific case, when you look at someone like Vedius, who just I could tell, based on his Twitter personality, or based on how he comes across in interviews, he's one of those extremely analytical people. So in some of the games where he wasn't thinking as critically or being as like, all right, here's the information we need, I think he's being hard on himself versus like the quality of his casting, especially when he's paired up with someone like Dracos or someone like Medic, where it's still early. There are a lot of factors in some of these games that we're not really sure of or have a lot of things to reflect on unless he watched a lot of EUM, which I don't know how much the casters pay attention to that. I think the casting's been good. I think Cadril has been really kind of been breaking out. I think Quickshot is still as fantastic as he always has been. I would like to see Dracos be a little bit better on the cast versus how fantastic he is in like Euphoria or on the analyst desk as a descriptive personality. I don't have any problems with the casting this so far this split. But granted, when I watch the games, I usually watch them on like 1.5 speed. So sometimes it's kind of hard to listen or to tell exactly who's speaking unless it's they're speaking really clearly, because at 1.5 speed it sounds like really fast, but you can still make out things and understand how the game is going. I just think that's better for like either VOD reviewing or like just binging through a best of 5, which best of 5s.
Okay. You're supposed to send me Fnatic VOD reviews.
Well,
oh god,
there just hasn't been any good games to like
you're like,
to
not
go
this
over.
Week. Not this week's games. Maybe next week. That's pretty much
again,
it.
I hope so.
That's pretty much it, guys. I'll see you guys.
Oh wait, no, never mind. Fnatic's playing G2 and Astralis, so.
I just see like Selfmade just running that whole team down by himself. Selfmade is the difference in there. Just not, you don't even count the other 4 Fnatic players. Just Selfmade is the difference between them and Astralis. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. See you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. See you guys next week for the LEC 2021 Spring Split Week 3 thoughts and opinions. Anything else you want to say, man?
No. Watch NA coming out this weekend.
This guy's trolling. Oh my god. That's the best region ever. No. Oh my god. You're supposed to be like hashtag always Fnatic. That's the tagline, right?
I mean, yeah. Hashtag bleeding orange.
Oh no.
Spam this static
Dude,
to help Fnatic.
I might get the Fnatic headset, actually.
That'd be nice, yeah.
I'm actually gonna get it. Like, I like this one though, but I kind of need another one. It's always like, I'm a human, I want new things, and when I get it, I want something different. So I'm like, why do you have a Fnatic headset? Because I like it and it looks cool and it produces good audio? Do I need to? Are you my mother? What? Are you my lawyer? What? Alright, see you guys later, and we're signing out, guys. Peace, have a good day. Goodbye.